There is still time to correct this most grievous misunderstanding, Mr. Carter. The Dagger of Amon Ra must be returned to Egypt.
Stay out of my way, or I'll thrash you within an inch of your life.
Surely you can find a way to accommodate everybody's wishes.
Who are you to tell me what I can do with my own property?
Your property? What authority did you have?
The authority of the Egyptian Antiquities Service. So if you don't like it, I suggest you waddle on back to Egypt and complain to your own government.
Would it not be better to work this out diplomatically?
This isn't a case for diplomacy. It's a case for your acceptance of the situation.
It is not just my acceptance at issue, Mr. Carter. Frankly, some of our people are quite upset, moved to take drastic measures if need be.
Are you threatening me, you malodorous little man?
Mr. Carter, there are some who would rather fight back than allow their country to be stripped of its national treasures.
Any fat savage who lays a finger on my exhibit or threatens me will find himself in deep trouble. Do I make myself clear?
As clear as the water of the oasis, Mr. Carter.
Be careful with that steamer trunk, young man. It's exceedingly valuable.
It sure is heavy, Mr. Carrington. You got gold bars in here or something?
The contents of my trunk are not your concern. Now be a good lad and take it to my taxi. The Countess is waiting.
New Orleans, 1 week later.
Are you sure you've got everything?
Yes, Daddy.
You've got Sam's address at the paper?
Yes, Daddy.
You've got the money I gave you?
Yes, Daddy. Don't worry.
Put some money in your shoe. New York's a big city, and there's a lot of crime there.
Look, I'm going straight to the paper. What could possibly go wrong?
Let me give you a little more money, just in case.
Dad, I've got to go.
Godspeed, Laura. Call me as soon as you get there.
I'll be fine, Dad. I'm going to make you proud of me.
I already am, honey.
Excuse me, dear, are you a secretary?
Actually, I'm starting a new job as a reporter for the New York Daily Register News Tribune. My name's Laura Bow.
How nice. I'm Irmgard. Is this your first trip to the big city?
Am I that obvious? How could you tell?
By the way you keep glancing out the window, dear. I did the same thing the first time I came to New York. The tall buildings, the people rushing around, it was all so exciting. Then I stepped off the train and got mugged.
How awful!
It's the New York experience. Thank you, dear. You're very kind. I've enjoyed traveling with you.
Do you need any help getting home?
No, dear. I'll be fine. Thank you.
You're sure you'll be okay?
Yes, thank you. Goodbye.
Goodness gracious! My suitcase!
Can you spare a dime, miss?
Certainly, sir. I'm always ready to help those who are less fortunate.
Well, that's just peachy. Give me all your money then.
Excuse me?
Hand it over.
This seems very unfair.
Welcome to New York, kid.
I'm not gonna let a little bad luck ruin my day. Hello, New York. Laura Bow has arrived. My destiny awaits. Nothing can stop me now. I really want to thank you for hiring me, Mr. Augustini.
For hiring you? I don't even know who you are.
I'm Laura Bow. I believe you know my father, John Bow.
Ah, John Bow's daughter. Now I remember. How is he?
He's fine, and he says hello. He wanted to know if you still had that newspaper clipping on your wall about the explosion of the Hindenburg building in New Orleans.
Yes, your father was the first cop on the scene of the explosion, and he let me into the wreckage so I could cover it for the paper. I rescued Rupert Hindenburg from his burning office, wrote about it, and made a name for myself as a reporter. I owe John a lot for that. Think you can handle being a reporter for a big city paper?
I'll do my best, sir.
We usually just hire men for this job. It's rough out there, and you're kinda small.
I can do it, Mr. Augustini. Just give me a chance.
All right, as a favor to my old pal John, but I'll be keeping a close eye on you.
Thank you, sir.
For your first assignment, I want you to write about a burglary. Some kind of fancy knife was stolen from the Lion Decker Museum. I'll arrange for you to attend the fundraiser at 7 o'clock tonight for their new Egyptian exhibit. Everyone will be there. Tell them you're covering the society news so they won't clam up on you.
You won't regret it, sir. I have a nose for news.
Just keep your nose out of trouble. Here's your official notebook and your pencil. It already has Crodfaller's notes in it. Have the story ready by 3 tomorrow, or you're out of a job.
Laura Baines, right?
Laura Bow, sir. And I believe you have the advantage.
Crodfaller Rhubarb, ma'am, though you can call me Rube. So I suppose you've already met Sam.
Yes, he's very colorful.
And don't let him shake you. He's tough on the outside, but inside he's got a heart of stone.
I'm sure he... Pardon me? What did you say?
Never mind. Just pulling your leg. Why don't you take this desk right here, and we'll get you settled in.
That's very kind of you. Mr. Augustini sort of left me on my own. I have to start on this story about a burglary at the Lion-Decker Museum.
The gents' sign leaves little doubt as to what lies behind the door. You shudder to think of it.
You can't go in there. That's the men's lounge.
You glance around curiously, but there's no sign of a ladies' lounge. This is patently unfair.
I'm so excited to be a member of the Trib staff. After all, I studied journalism in college. I went to Tulane and never thought that my first job out of school would be at a paper as prestigious as this one. I mean, that is unusual, isn't it?
I'm sorry, were you talking to me?
Never mind.
I'm busy right now, girlie. Love to help you out sometime, though. Maybe buy you dinner or something.
This is now your desk. It's very old and looks like it hasn't been cleaned thoroughly in years, but it's sturdy and serviceable.
What is this?
I'm not sure. Hand it to me and I'll take a closer look at it. Oh, this is what we call a press pass. Very useful. We ran out of official press passes. This is a business card for low fats, but if you wave it in front of a cabbie, he'll take you where you want to go.
I hope I'm not intruding. I mean, if you were working on the burglary story.
Miss Bow, please, it is not a problem. Yes, I'd started work on the story, but it's not your fault that it's been reassigned. That's just something I'll have to take up with Sam.
Thank you, Mr. Rube. Were you able to get any leads at all about the burglary at the museum?
No, haven't been working on the story very long. I went to see Detective O'Reilly down at the police station, but he was pretty tight-lipped. I was planning on talking to Ziggy down at the speakeasy. He's a stoolie, usually good for a tidbit or two.
Any other leads I can follow up on?
With due respect, ma'am, it's going to be your byline on the story, not mine.
Point taken, Mr. Rube. Who is Ziggy?
He's what we politely call a stool pigeon. Basically, the guy squeals for cash. Amazing that the guy hasn't had his neck broken by now.
Where can I find this speakeasy?
Just ask any cab driver. They'll take you there. It's the place disguised as a flower shop.
Excuse me, sir.
Don't bother me, lady. I'm sleeping.
Pardon me. I'm looking for some information.
Well, take yourself down to the library then.
Pardon me, Sergeant, but I happen to be a reporter with the Trib.
Oh, well, strike up the barn then. Look, lassie, I've been out with my dogs all day, and I hadn't had my lunch. And I got better things to do than to jaw with some slip of a girl reporter. Go on with you now.
Excuse me, but I really need some information.
The desk sergeant ignores you, though his stomach growls impatiently. You knock politely. You hear the muffled response. Come in.
Sure and begorra, I'm Detective O'Reilly. What would you be wanting then, lass?
I'm Laura Bow from the New York Daily Register News Tribune. I'm looking into the burglary at the Lion-Decker Museum, and I understand you're handling the case. Would it be possible for me to look at your report?
You can't be a reporter, lass. You're a girl. The Trib only hires men.
I am a reporter, sir, and you can check with my editor, Sam Augustini, if you don't believe me.
I thought that Crodfeather guy was going to be writing the robbery article.
Crodfather was assigned to it, but the story is mine now. Can I see that report, please?
It's very technical, lass. I don't think you'll be learning much from it.
Thank you for your concern, Detective, but I'd like to be the judge of that.
You're a determined girl. I'll say that much for you. Have a look, then.
The file on the Lion-Decker Museum burglary is nothing more than a single handwritten page. It mentions only one stolen object, the Dagger of Amon Ra. The burglar or burglars left no fingerprints or other clues. Their method of access to the museum is unknown. In summary, the police are baffled about the burglary at the museum at this point. Some parts of the report seem vague. The report is signed by Detective Ryan Hanrahan O'Reilly.
There's only one page to this report. Where's the rest of it?
That's all of it right now.
It's rather vague, isn't it?
Good police work takes time, and I'm a very busy man. I haven't had time to follow up on the burglary. So what if a museum loses a knife? There are people being murdered left and right in this city, dropping like flies. Cars are being stolen, booze is being smuggled into speakeasies. Pedestrians are being mugged, firebugs are burning down half the city. They're running out of grapes at the corner market, and I've got a headache. And you know who gets to investigate all the crimes in this district? Me! So I don't need any nosy reporters hanging around telling me my reports are vague, girlie.
Well, excuse me.
Talk to the desk sergeant if you have any more questions. I haven't got time for you right now.
The paper is full of old news and a valuable coupon.
Hot the corned beef, get you hot a corned beef sandwich.
Is that corned beef lean?
Lean of corned beef? This is the leanest of corned beef in the city, maybe in the country. So lean the cows, she keep on tipping over. You want to buy a corned beef sandwich, lady?
I believe I would like a sandwich.
Mamma mia, another coupon. I'm gonna go broke. What a crummy idea I had. That's the last time I advertised in a newspaper. Take your sandwich and get out of here before I change my mind.
One of Luigi's famous corned beef sandwiches. It's so fresh that it makes a faint mooing sound when you squeeze it.
Hot a corned beef, get you hot a corned beef sandwich.
That smells wonderful.
Of course she smells wonderful. She's a nice, hot corned beef sandwich. You want a corned beef sandwich?
No, I've already got a corned beef a corned beef sandwich. Thanks anyway.
Okay, hey, get ya hot a corned beef sandwich here. Corned beef sandwich.
You look so hungry. Here, take this.
Sure, there's a corned beef sandwich on rye. Bless you, lassie. Don't mind if I do. Sure, and it tastes fresh, too. Mmm.
I know I always feel a little better after I've had something to eat.
There's no denying that, miss. Now, what was it you were wanting to ask me?
Detective O'Reilly seemed very rude. Is there any way I could talk with him again when he's in a better mood?
Ah, well, and here I thought he was in such a good mood today. He's a very busy fella. If only you'd talked to him once today, I doubt he'd be talking to you again.
What do you know about the Lion-Decker Museum?
A very fine establishment. Worthwhile seeing, even if you're only in town for a short while. Very educational.
Have you actually been there?
Well, but I live in the city, and I'm not having to see all the landmarks.
Do you have any record of a crod fall or tea rhubarb?
Oh, go on with you. You're pulling my leg on that one. There's no such man, is there now?
I'm serious.
Well, I've seriously never heard of the man.
I'm looking for information about a man named Ziggy.
What would a lass like yourself be wanting with scum like that?
Never you mind why. I'm just looking for information about him.
I suppose it's no big secret. Not round here, anyways. Ziggy's is a first-class little rat fink. Couldn't cut it as a crook on his own. Now he has to go around spoiling it for the rest of them. Nasty little big mouth, though he does seem to hear an awful lot. If you're looking for him, he's the kind of man what hangs around in speakeasies. Not that we have any in New York City, mind you. We've got these places closed up good and tight.
What can you tell me about the speakeasy?
Now, I don't know anything about a speakeasy. Not in this town. We run a clean city here. But there are some nice places where a lady like yourself can sit and relax and enjoy a bit of the high life, if you know what I'm saying. Of course, some of these places are restricted, don't you know? So you'll have to be giving them the right signs so they know you're okay. But just mention it Charleston, and you're in like Flynn. You got that now?
I think so. Thank you kindly, Sergeant.
Don't mention it. And I mean it now. Don't you go mentioning it. Not to anyone.
Greetings, madam. I can motivate you to your destination if you can prove that you're a reporter or if you have American currency. Have you heard about that transatlantic radio telephone conversation between New York and London? Imagine hearing someone's voice from that distance. Modern technology, oh, it just amazes me. Thanks for traveling with us, madam. Have a pleasant day.
It's a nice day, isn't it?
I don't know.
Well, there's not a cloud in the sky and the sun is shining.
I guess. Makes the ants light quicker, that's for sure.
I'm not telling you nothing. You're pretty nosy, you know that?
It's my job to be nosy. I'm a reporter for the New York Daily Register News Tribune.
Oh, yeah? Then what's going to happen to ham gravy and castor oil and Thimble Theater?
I don't know.
Then you don't really work for the newspaper. You're full of baloney.
This nifty baseball wouldn't be of any use to you, would it?
I don't know. Let's see it. Not bad. I'm not sure about this Bob Roos signature, but it's not a bad imitation. Stitching integrity is about 89%. Want to trade?
That's just what I was thinking. I could use that magnifying glass you boys are using.
Hey, Scram, we're using this glass.
Have we got a deal?
Okay, why not? Here you go.
Hey, what a jip! Now how are we gonna moidalize these ants?
Ease up, Stinky. We're almost out of ants anyway. Then we'll go to Old Man Meadow's place and bust up his windows.
Yeah!
Thanks, lady. Pleasure doing business with you.
Thank you, young man.
What you looking at?
I'm not sure, really. I'm just looking for clues.
Let me know if you find any. Low-fat love a good mystery. Ha ha.
Excuse me.
Yes, please.
I was just wondering, do you work here?
Yes, ticket please.
Pardon?
Ticket please. You here to pick up, yes?
Oh, no, I'm sorry. I was just looking around.
Okay, look all you want. Looking is free. Laundry not so.
Ever been to the Lion-Decker Museum?
Of course. Low-fat, big contributor to museum. $2 every year. Some customer also work at museum. Wolf Heimlich, security guard. Very important.
Anybody else from the museum ever come here?
Yes, let me think. Woman doctor, Greek name. Olympia something. Magilakati Miklos? Yes, that's it. Olympia Miklos. Not know what she do at museum, but she worked there. She and Mr. Heimlich sometime come in together.
Have you been there recently?
Not been there in, must be almost a year. Whoa, time to send in another $2.
Besides Mr. Heimlich and Dr. Miklos, Are any of your other customers museum employees?
Not think so. Oh, wait. How could I forget? Yvette Delacroix. Very lovely lady. She work at museum.
Does the name Pippin mean anything to you?
Yes, yes. Pippin Longstocking. My little girl read a book about her. Very funny. Freckles, red hair.
I don't think that's the same name.
No? I thought it was Longstocking. Maybe not.
Do you know Detective O'Reilly?
Ah, Detective O'Reilly. Very smart man. Funny. No matter how clean I get his clothes, he always look dirty.
Tell me about Wolf Heimlich.
Nothing. Wolfie funny. Funny man. Take himself very seriously. Stand up straight. Act like soldier.
What else can you tell me about him?
Occasional bloodstain. Never sweat. Very tidy. Only see him once in a while.
So you do the laundry for Dr. Olympia Miklos?
Yes. Spooky lady. All black clothes. She nice, but scary.
Can you tell me anything about a free pass to get your clothes pressed?
Low Fat give out free pressing coupon many months ago. Big advertisement in newspaper. Nobody use.
Do you still honor the coupon?
Yes, yes. Forgot to put expiration date on coupon. By now, nobody remember anyway. Must be using coupon for something else. Ha 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 ha.
Have you read that new book by Carl Sandburg? It's Abraham Lincoln, The Prairie Years. Actually, it's the first 2 volumes of a 6-volume biography, and I find it quite stimulating reading. Thanks for traveling with us, madam. Have a pleasant day.
Good morning, miss. I'm Steve Dorian.
I'm Laura Bowe.
Nice weather we're having. Hey, did you hear about Admiral Byrd? He just made the first successful flight over the North Pole. What a guy. I think the Cardinals are going to win the World Series this year. I hear Henry Ford just introduced the 40-hour work week at his auto plant. I think that's ridiculous. What are his employees going to do with all that free time? Do you always have this much trouble holding up your end of the conversation? Mr. Carrington came in on the Andrea Doria. I remember because he had the heaviest steamer trunk I've ever lifted. And it smelled funny, too. Gave me a big tip. Then that rich lady picked him up in a taxi. He called her the Countess Waldorf Carlton. That's where Mr. Carter's Egyptian crates were going. Nice place. Ever been there?
Actually, I'm attending a fundraising party there tonight.
Sounds like a formal party. What will it cost to get in?
I don't know. I'm covering it for the newspaper, so I get in free.
I thought the museum was closed today.
It is, but the party isn't till 7 o'clock tonight.
Sounds like fun. Enjoy yourself. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have to get back to work.
I had Al Jolson in this taxi last week. He's starting work on a movie, The Jazz Singer, where you can actually hear people talking. I don't know. I don't think it'll ever replace radio. Thanks for traveling with us, madam.
We're closed. No deliveries.
The password is Charleston.
Well, why didn't you say so? Come on in.
You're in a speakeasy known as the Harlem Swinger. This being the time of prohibition, illegal alcoholic drinks are sold here in secret. It's Dr. Jazz, the piano player. This is only a temporary gig for Doc since he normally plays with Jelly Roll Morton and his Red Hot Peppers. It's Crooner Jensmith, the amazing dancing chanteuse.
Are you Ziggy?
Who sent ya? Godfather, he's an old pal of mine. What you want to know?
Do you know anything about Egyptology?
The only Egyptian I know is an accountant named Ramses Najir, something like that. He bugs me sometimes by asking me riddles. I can never figure 'em out.
What kind of riddles?
Well, today Ramses came in and asked me a two-part riddle. What's the room you leave without entering? And what's the room you enter without leaving? As usual, I told him I didn't give a hoot about his silly questions, so he left.
Have you read that new novel by Ernest Hemingway?
You mean The Sun Also Rises, his novel of post-war disillusion? Of course! Ernie and me go way back. He ran this book by me before it ever got published, and I told him it's a real corker.
Hiya, dollface. Looking for a good time? It's your loss, Toots. I'll be right here if you change your mind. I have a cramp in my leg. Could you massage it for me, honey? Oh, yes. Touch me again. You haven't seen the Countess come into the speakeasy yet, have you? I've been waiting here for hours.
The Countess?
Yeah, the Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carlton. I'm supposed to meet her here.
Sorry, haven't seen her. But if I do, I'll be sure and let you know.
Thanks, Toots.
What do you know about the Countess?
She's a nice old broad, loaded. She's married to some high-class museum bigwig, but she can't get enough. Know what I mean?
No, I don't know what you mean.
You're pulling my leg, right?
No, I'm not pulling anything. I'm not that kind of girl.
Well, you're trying to pull something, sister, and I don't like it. I'm not answering no more questions about the Countess. You look so cute in that outfit. It makes me want to scream.
Hey, Toots, you can touch me anytime. If you want, I can stop at this cheap little hotel I know. The manager's a friend of mine. We could use one of his rooms for a couple hours, if you know what I mean.
No, thank you, sir. My goodness, has this taxi ever been cleaned?
I cleaned it out 2 years ago. You got a problem with that? I'll take you for a ride if you got the dough or if you can prove you're just a reporter. Okay, Toots, where can I take you?
This claim ticket 2 years old today. You very lucky woman. Almost give this clothes away. It'll be ready Tuesday. Ha ha ha. Just kidding. Ancient Chinese joke.
Actually, this isn't mine at all. I found this claim ticket just a little while ago. I'd feel badly if somebody would have come back for this.
You worry for nothing. Nobody come in for 2-year-old laundry. Lady who owned this dress probably dead by now. Ha ha ha.
You're a strange man, Mr. Fat, but I kind of like you.
They're not really Chinese characters, though Fat displays them to give himself an aura of authenticity, since he was actually born in Newark, New Jersey.
Va-va-voom. Nice body. But where did you get those clothes? Salvation Army? If you're looking for your old clothes, you won't find them. I threw them out.
Your perky demeanor and thorough technique are making you a first-class detective. There is a tall, imposing gentleman guarding the door. He appears to be wearing a German military uniform.
This affair is by invitation only, Fräulein. Your papers, please. Danke, Fräulein. I'll return this pass when you are leaving. Enjoy yourself this evening.
It's a colossal bust of the pharaoh Ramses II, discovered at the Ramesseum, his mortuary temple on the Nile's west bank opposite present-day Luxor. The complete Ramses statue stood nearly 60 feet tall and weighed more than 1,000 tons. Presumably Ramses was not this large in life, although many people have stated that Ramses had a big head.
Heard any good rumors lately?
Maybe, or maybe not. What's it worth to you?
Well, I don't have any money right now.
Then I ain't got no rumors for you, Toots.
Good evening, Dr. Carrington.
Good evening, Miss Bow. Good evening.
Good evening, sir. My name is Laura Bow.
I am Ramses Najir, Miss Bow. Pleased to make your acquaintance.
This is quite a party. Does the museum always have a big fundraiser when they open a new exhibit, Dr. Carter?
No, but they've never had such an important exhibit opening here before. And I'm an important curator with an important salary, so the museum wouldn't have been able to keep me employed here without financial assistance.
You must be very important for the museum to go to so much trouble.
Naturally. The museum is lucky that I accepted this position as the head of their new Egyptian antiquities department. Why, my name alone will attract more visitors and more money to the museum.
Any chance that the Tutankhamun exhibit will make a stop here on its American tour?
No. I'd hate to embarrass my relative by putting his Tutankhamun artifacts on display here. They pale by comparison to my own great discoveries, such as the Dagger of Amon Ra.
Of course. How silly of me to think otherwise.
Yes, that was rather silly of you.
Bonjour, Miss Bow. Dr. Carrington told me you were covering this party for the newspaper. I'm Yvette Delacroix.
That's right, Miss Delacroix. I'm writing the social news column.
Ah, the social news. I was thinking you were here about the burglary.
The burglary? Oh, of course not. The newspaper would never assign a female cub reporter like myself to such an important story.
Ah, you are probably being correct, Miss Bow.
What What do you make of the theft of the dagger, Dr. Carrington?
It's simply beastly. What is the world coming to when crepuscular ruffians can invade a museum like Visigoths?
Do you have any idea who could have done such a thing?
Not at all. But if I did, I'd be tempted to teach the brute a lesson.
Have you found 1926 to be a good year for you, Dr. Carrington?
Yes, I would, Miss Bow. Frightfully good.
And what is that, Doctor?
It's not often that one gets the opportunity to head up the most respected museum in America, Miss Bow.
Mr. Najee, would you have any idea who might have stolen the Dagger of Amon Ra?
No, but whoever did should be boiled alive. He should be fed to hungry crocodiles. His guts should be strung from the pyramids. He should... Oh, excuse me. I get a little passionate on the subject.
Quite all right, Mr. Najee. I understand. Mr. Najee, would you say that 1926 has been a good year for you?
Well, yes, I would have to say so. Business in America is booming, and many people need an accountant. I have not wanted for work, and my beloved wife Isis is soon to deliver our third child. I suppose I am as happy as a man could be.
Congratulations on the upcoming blessed event, Mr. Najee. What are your other children's names?
Well, there's Horus and Amon, and the new baby shall be named Anubis, after the wise and just Lord of the Dead.
Oh, how lovely. But what if the child is a girl?
The name shall be Anubis either way. It is a wonderful name for either a boy or a girl.
You must be very upset about the burglary.
Quite so. If I ever find out who stole my Dagger of Amon Ra, they won't live to regret it, I can assure you.
Oh, my. Do you have any idea who would do such a thing?
I have my suspicions, but I need more proof before I subject him to the full force of my wrath.
Have the police learned anything?
Those incompetents? Hardly. They couldn't even find any clues around the dagger display.
Sounds like the burglar might have been a professional.
Perhaps. It's more likely the local constable couldn't find a clue if it jumped up and bit him on the bum.
Was there something you wanted, Miss Bow? If you look closely at my neck, you will see the scars from the night my pet Wolverine tried to kill me. How I miss little Fluffy.
You must be Dr. Ptah Sheptut Smith. Nice gold ankh you're wearing. This is quite a party, isn't it?
I find it distasteful to celebrate thievery in the name of science. The artifacts in this museum's Egyptian collection do not belong here. They belong in Egypt.
That's only your opinion.
It is the truth. And the thieves who rob Egypt of its ancient treasures will find death waiting for them. Amon-Ra will have his revenge.
I see. Well, nice weather we're having. Good evening, Dr. Miklos.
Oh, good evening, Miss Bow.
How are you, Detective O'Reilly?
Just fine, lassie. You're looking lovely this evening.
Have you heard anything about the burglary?
No.
Do you have any idea who would want to steal the Dagger of Amon Ra?
It has already been stolen once from Egypt.
I can see I won't get anywhere with you on this topic. Dr. Miklos, do you have any idea who would want to steal the Dagger of Amon Ra?
Very funny. Everybody, silly girl. It's a priceless artifact. Not only that, but it is said that the blade is an unknown alloy that can slice through bone like butter.
I suppose that was a silly question after all. Let me rephrase that. Do you know of anyone with any particular motive?
Well, Todd Smith and Ramses Najir both wanted it very badly to return it to their homeland. But they are both so upset, it hardly seems possible that they could have done it. Then again, perhaps they are just fine actors.
You should try to be more like Yvette. Men would like you more that way.
Men like me just fine the way I am.
That's what you think. I find you quite annoying.
Hi, I'm Laura Bow, and I'm covering this event for the Tribune Society news column.
Good evening, Miss Bow. I'm the Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carleton. Please be sure to spell my name right in your story.
What do you make of the theft of the Dagger of Amon, Ra, Countess?
Oh, it's horrid. Simply horrid. What sort of creature would make off with a priceless work of art, I wonder?
Do you have any ideas about who it might have been?
Oh, my, no! I try not to associate with dreadful people, dear girl.
There I was, standing on the hillside above the excavation in the Valley of the Kings, with the faithful Mahmud describing the dance of the 7 veils to me in great detail, when a shout rose up from the workers below us. Sensing an important discovery at hand, since I have a sixth sense about these things, I scurried downhill to see that a step had been uncovered in the sand. It turned out to be the entrance to the temple of Amon-Ra. I took the trowel from the Boscafir and cleared the sand away from the rest of the steps myself, revealing the entrance to the temple. The seal of the necropolis was intact on the door seal, indicating that the temple had not been disturbed. I knew that fate had brought me to the discovery I had been seeking for so long. Tireless after my exertion in clearing the staircase, I used a sledgehammer to break through the sealed doorway. Within lay the greatest accomplishment of my considerable career. Hidden within the darkness, untouched for thousands of years in the isolated temple, lay the magnificent Dagger of Amon-Ra, the greatest discovery of modern archaeology.
Good show.
Magnifique. Very impressive, Dr. Carter.
So, that's when you heisted it, right?
No, I didn't heist it, you annoying little man. I took it out of the temple and showed it to the workers, who immediately fell upon their faces, all 350 of them, to show respect for my accomplishment.
That's hard to believe, Dr. Carter. Egyptian workers have proudly worked the archaeological digs for many years. I would not think they'd exaggerate their respect for you to such an extent.
But then you weren't there, were you, Mr. Nagier?
Well, no, that's true.
And when was the last time you were in Egypt, Mr. Nagier? You seem to have lost some of your accent.
Well, it has been several years.
I thought as much.
Your discovery really was quite a remarkable achievement, Dr. Carter.
Was remarkable, Dr. Carrington? You mean it is a remarkable achievement. There has never been anything like it before.
Quite so. Correction noted, Doctor.
If you will all be excusing me, I see a man I need to speak to.
Certainly, Miss Delacroix. Certainly.
Boy, did he bet. She's some dish, ain't she?
Yes, those Frenchwomen really have something. I don't think my wife would ever have done it in a mummy case.
In my vast experience of women from different lands, I tend to agree with you, Mr. Nagier. I balked when a certain Frenchwoman suggested we have a deep conversation on the back of a dinosaur, but I was pleasantly surprised by the results.
Yes, Miss Delacroix is certainly the cat's pajamas, as the Americans would say.
Yeah, we does come up with some good sayings, don't we?
Quite.
Good Lord, I hadn't realized a woman was present. Please excuse us, Miss Bow.
Oh, I wasn't actually listening to you gentlemen, Dr. Carrington. I just happened to be standing here. Excuse me.
Ryan, I'm having the hardest of times keeping my hands off you.
Not here, Yvette. There's too many people.
They are not important. You are the most powerful man here, my Ryan.
What about that Carrington guy? He's president of this museum.
The doctor, he is old and weak. You are the young one and strong.
And what would you be wanting, Miss Bow?
Oh, well, I thought I heard you call my name.
You must have been hearing things. I didn't even mention your name.
Oh, sorry. I've got to be going now. Excuse me.
And what were you doing when that fancy dagger was being stolen then?
Let me see. I was sleeping in my hotel room.
You don't sound too sure about that.
I haven't been sleeping too well since I arrived in this country. I'm tired, so I'm not thinking too well.
You're not sleeping well. Would you be having a guilty conscience then?
I do not understand your meaning, Mr. O'Reilly. Perhaps it is the English. It is such a curious language, not as clear as the Egyptian.
Well, you say the dagger is what brought you to this country. If I were in your position, I'd be tempted to steal it.
Steal what has already been stolen? The Dagger of Amon Ra belongs to the Egyptian people, Mr. O'Reilly, not to Dr. Carter, not to this museum, and not to this country.
I'd be watching what you're saying, Dr. Smith. You're digging your hole deeper with every word.
Amon Ra will seek his own vengeance on those who have removed his dagger from Egypt. Amon Ra does not require my help.
You say you were sleeping when it was stolen. Were you alone?
That, sir, is none of your business.
Oh, that's where you're wrong, Dr. Smith. It is my business as long as you're a suspect in the burglary.
A suspect? Do you Americans have no shame? I'm here to gain a return on the dagger by legal means. Ask Dr. Carrington.
I have talked to Dr. Carrington, and I know he told you no dice.
The matter is not settled until the last camel drinks from the water of the oasis.
What's that? Some kind of Egyptian double talk?
Excuse me, sir, but I see a turkey leg on the buffet table that requires my attention.
If you want to know my theory about it, I think it was stolen by an Egyptian. No offense to your people, Mr. Nagier, but I think there is a secret sect of Egyptian sun worshippers who have sent an envoy here to steal the dagger.
Countess, I hardly think that likely. Secret sects like you're describing haven't existed in hundreds of years.
Oh, really? And what makes you such an authority on secret sects, Mr. Nagier?
Well, I am only expressing my opinion, madam. I'm certainly not an expert on the subject.
Quite so. I think my theory is as good as anyone's, darling, and I heard it from a reliable source.
Oh? Who was that?
Never mind. Let's just say my source has never been wrong before.
There's always a first time for everything, Countess. I still find your theory far-fetched.
Since you seem to be listening, Miss Bow, what do you think of my theory?
What? Oh, I definitely think it's worth considering, Countess.
There, you see, Mr. Nagier, the press takes me seriously.
Of course, it is kind of far-fetched.
Well, I never! Excuse me.
Oh, did I say something wrong? I'm sorry.
So that's the deal, Countess.
I'd rather not talk about it right now.
Yeah, no kidding. DeWalt's got ears around here. And so does certain nosy reporters, if you know what I mean.
Yes. Now, if you'll excuse me, I simply must speak to Dr. Carrington.
Sure thing, Toots. Well, ain't you the hoity-toity dame these days? I almost didn't recognize you with your clothes on.
Excusez-moi, am I knowing you, sir?
Ziggy's my moniker. You gonna pretend you doesn't know me?
Ah, you are making the joke with me, no? Perhaps you have confused me with someone else?
I ain't joking. You're Yvette Delacroix. I'd know that body of yours anywheres.
I am sure I am not knowing what you mean, Monsieur Ziggy.
Oh, I get it. Yous is worried one of these hi-hats is gonna hear us, right? Oh, okay. I'm clued in. We can talk later.
Are you enjoying the culinary delights this evening, Miss Delacroix?
This food, it is adequate. I do not eat so much. This way I maintain my figure, no?
Ah, yes. And a lovely figure it is, Miss Delacroix.
Merci, Dr. Carrington. You are so kind.
I feel we've known each other long enough. Please call me Archibald.
As you wish, Archibald. I am yours to command, as always.
Miss Bow, is there something I can do for you?
Oh, no. I was just admiring Miss Delacroix's dress.
Merci, Miss Bow. And your gown, it is a bit out of date, but charming nonetheless.
Thank you, I think.
Well, if you ladies will excuse me, I must mingle with the guests.
Well, look what the leprechaun's dragged in.
Hey, now watch what yous calls me, O'Reilly. I don't know what that leprechaun thing is, but I don't like the sound of it.
I'm sure you've been called worse things, smart guy.
Only by low-class type poisons, O'Reilly. By the way, ain't you afraid of being seen with me?
Cops talk to stoolies all the time, and I was wondering what you're doing here.
I'm a big patron of the arts. That's the kind of high-class guy I am.
You don't even know what the word patron means.
I does too.
Okay, what does patron mean?
Hey, ain't that the countess I see over there? I needs to talk to her.
One thing I am admiring about the Egyptian man is the way he is treating his woman, with the strong hand and the firm words.
Well, that is the proper way, as our culture teacheth us.
Which is not to say our culture is primitive by any means. Our civilization has evolved over thousands of years, so our methods are quite well thought out and practical.
And the Egyptian man, he is very skilled in the private matters as well, no?
Well, speaking for myself, I feel it is my sacred duty to be knowledgeable in all matters that concern me.
I've certainly had no complaints about my skills, Mrs. Delacroix.
Ah, Miss Bow, I didn't see you standing there.
Ahem. Well, I hear another turkey leg calling my name at the buffet table, so if you'll excuse me.
The turkey leg, it sounds good to me also. I'll accompany you, Dr. Smith. Countess, they tell me you are married to the last museum president, no?
Yes, darling, that's correct. Sterling Waldorf Carleton was such a charming man, and so wealthy. My heart is just an empty void without him.
Yes, Sterling was such a nice man. It's too bad that he's worm food now.
No! I prefer to think that Sterling is still with me in spirit.
Oh, I'm sure his body is crawling with maggots by now. But if his spirit is with you, let me know, because I'd love to see it.
It is hard to lose a loved one, no? I understand you were only married this short time, Countess.
Yes, I had only 2 short but charming months of married life with Sterling before he died.
And how long had you known this man before you were married?
Oh, we met just 1 charming month before we decided to get married. It was love at first sight.
Where did you meet him?
Oh, I had only been in this country a few weeks when I met Sterling on an offshore casino ship. It's quite legal to drink and gamble there, you know, and all the right people attend. Sterling was so charming, he just swept me off my feet.
This Sterling, he must have had the large broom.
It's just a manner of speech, my dear.
Sterling was a wealthy man. You must have inherited a nice fortune, Countess.
The money doesn't matter, darling. Actually, there's an annoying problem with the estate right now. It seems Sterling was changing his will when he died to give me more money, perhaps. Anyway, I'm sure my attorney will take care of the problem.
Too bad you can't dig him up to finish his new will.
Yes, quite.
The archaeology, it is such a masculine profession. Breaking into the ancient tombs with your sledgehammer, thrusting your way into the treasure chambers, touching the gold artifacts. It is also stimulating, no?
Yes, well, when you put it that way, I guess it is rather stimulating being the most important archaeologist of all time.
And it is such a burden to bear, this greatness, no? With such pressure to perform, you must be perfect all the time.
Yes, you have a unique understanding of my problems, Yvette.
Your problems, they are obvious, no?
Very kind of you to say that, but there are many who misinterpret my actions. They don't understand the pressure of having famous relatives in the same line of work, and having to compare oneself to them all the time.
But the Tutankhamun find, it is nothing when compared to your discovery, no?
Correct. I didn't realize you knew so much about archaeology.
I know many things, Dr. Carter.
So I've heard. Maybe we should discuss archaeology sometime.
I'd love to hear about the work you do, Dr. Carter. Perhaps later tonight?
Will you be working late tonight?
Oh, yes. I think everyone will be here tonight, no? There is much to be done to prepare for the opening of your exhibit tomorrow.
I was planning a break for tea around 3 a.m. if you'd like to join me.
It sounds wonderful. Perhaps you would come by my office then?
I'd be delighted.
It is so gracious of you to take the time to speak with me.
Nonsense. Think nothing of it.
How will I ever repay you for this courtesy? I know how busy you are, Dr. Carter.
I'm sure we'll think of something. And call me Pippin. I told you to stop bothering me, you camel driver.
Dr. Carter, I will stop bothering you when the dagger is safely back in Cairo.
I don't know if you've noticed, but the bloody dagger has been stolen from the bloody museum, you great twit.
I see no reason to exchange epithets with you, Dr. Carter. I am aware of the burglary. I am also aware that no evidence was left behind, and the dagger case was not armed. In fact, I think you removed the dagger from the exhibit.
Me? Me? And what bloody reason would I have to steal my own bloody dagger from my own bloody exhibit?
The dagger is not yours, Doctor. It belongs to the Egyptian people. As to why you stole it, I do not pretend to understand your twisted American thinking. Perhaps you wanted to keep the dagger for yourself, in your own private collection.
Perhaps I should ask why you're shifting the blame onto me, you insignificant peasant. It would be very clever of you to steal the dagger, then stay about to start rumors about someone else stealing it.
Only an archaeological thief would make such an accusation, Doctor. Now I'm sure that you stole it for yourself.
I did not.
Yes, you did.
Did not.
Did.
Did not.
Did.
Gentlemen, please.
Who asked you?
Mind your own business, you nosy reporter.
But
I have more important things to do.
Our discussion is far from over, Dr. Carter.
That's what you think, you malodorous buffoon.
Are you having a nice evening, Mr. Dorian?
Well, it's much, much better with you nearby.
What do you make of the theft of the dagger, Mr. Dorian?
I think it's awful, Miss Bow, just awful.
Who do you suppose could have done it?
I have no idea who could have perpetrated such a terrible thing. I just hope they get what's coming to them, that's all.
So do I, Mr. Dorian.
You're interested in the great art, no? Then you should come with me this evening. I'll give you the personal tour of the old master's gallery.
Well,
I guarantee that you will not be wasting your time. You will enjoy it very much.
Well,
You are studying the art at the université, no?
Well, yes, but...
Then it is settled. I will give you the private tour in a little while, no?
But
There is no need to thank me yet. I will be enjoying it as much as you will. These appear to be copies of ancient Egyptian artifacts. They seem to be nicely crafted. On each piece, you can see a tiny stamp that says, Faux Egyptian Artifacts, crafted with care by Hakim Rashad Hassan Ali Bozorg and Sons. What a beautiful painting of the mask of Tutankhamun. You wish you had the money to buy it. It's a painting of the pharaoh Uba-Spameton hunting geese in the springtime with his hounds and his son, Nyet. It looks just like the Dagger of Amon Ra. Isn't it beautiful? The dagger shows a high degree of craftsmanship.
Fräulein, this gift shop is closed. You should not be here.
Oh, I'm sorry. The door was unlocked.
Unlocked? My assistant will be disciplined harshly for this mistake. Please rejoin the party now. I will be forced to injure you.
Miss Bow?
Oh! Mr. Dorian?
That's right. We met at the docks.
Oh dear, your shoes. They aren't exactly formal.
Oh, well, I can explain that, but not right now.
I see. Well, what brings you here?
You.
Oh, me?
You told me you'd be here tonight, and, well, I thought we should talk.
Oh? About what?
Could we step outside for a minute? The moonlight is very nice tonight.
Well, all right. I think I'd enjoy that.
I just wanted to explain to you who I really am.
You're not Steve Dorian?
Well, yes, I am Steve Dorian, but I felt like I didn't give you the most accurate impression of myself when I met you earlier today. But, gee willikers, I'm just not used to meeting attractive young ladies on the docks.
I wasn't down there looking for a man. I'm a professional journalist working on a story.
Oh, well, yes, of course you are. I didn't mean to imply anything. In fact, I was very impressed with your professionalism and with your smile. I just didn't want you to think I'm a common stevedore.
Well, I'll admit I was wondering what a stevedore was doing at this ritzy museum fundraiser.
My stevedore job pays the bills, but I'm aiming for a career as an artist. However, I'm really here because I'd hate myself for the rest of my life if I didn't try to see you again. Maybe I'm a fool, maybe you think we're too different, but I had to try.
Well, I'm very flattered. Are you always this nervous?
I'm not very good with women. I've spent all my time working ever since I was 10 years old, when my father died. I've never had a chance to date very much. Lately, I've spent my free time going to school.
I'm starting to think we're more alike than I first thought. My mother died when I was very young, so I was raised by my father. What kind of an artist are you?
I'm a painter, and I do a little sculpting.
How interesting. But I think that an artist would know enough not to wear work boots with his tuxedo at a formal party.
Oh, I said I'd explain that, didn't I? I was hoping nobody would notice. I had to blow 2 weeks' pay to rent this tux, but I didn't have enough left over to rent the fancy shoes. It's just that I had to see you again.
You spent all your money just to see me? My goodness, I don't know what to say.
Say you'll have dinner with me some evening. I may seem a little odd, but I promise that I'm harmless. I'd be honored to spend an evening with you and show you the sights around town.
Well, I don't usually, but you've gone to a lot of trouble to find me. I think I can trust you.
Really? You'll do it? Oh, thank you. You won't regret it. I'll make it a memorable evening. I'll paint for you. I'll dance for you. I'll sing for you. Anything you want.
Well, there's no need to get carried away. Let's see how dinner goes first.
Of course. You're absolutely right. I don't seem too anxious, do I?
Maybe just a bit, but that's okay.
Okay. I'll take a deep breath and calm down. I'll be fine. I'll do whatever you want.
I think this is the beginning of something important, Steve. I like you already. Let's go back to the party, Steve. I've got work to do.
Achtung! Tourists are not allowed in this room at this time. You are disturbing the paintings. Raus! You leave now! Mach schnell!
A sign on this dinosaur bone display says, "Please touch." Either these bones feel lonely, or the museum wants you to learn more about the bones by coming into close personal contact with them. It's a Tyrannosaurus Rex. His name is Rex. Isn't that clever?
Welcome to the Leyendecker Museum Dinosaur Display. My name is Rex, and I'd like to tell you about myself. I'm a type of dinosaur known as Tyrannosaurus Rex, which means King of the Tyrant Lizards. Although I was not the largest type of dinosaur, I was the largest predator ever to walk the earth. Some of my friends were 40 feet long and weighed 8 tons, with teeth that were 6 inches long. Your modern elephants don't weigh more than 6 tons. I lived between 250 and 65 million years ago, during a period known as the Age of Dinosaurs, also called the Mesozoic era. The first complete skeleton of a Tyrannosaurus Rex was found just 24 years ago in Montana in 1902. Although there were many meat-eating dinosaurs, I was considered the best killing machine who ever lived. Speaking of which, I'm feeling a bit hungry. Would you like to volunteer to be my next meal?
It looks remarkably like a glass case in the shape of a pyramid. A small card informs you that this case contained the famous Dagger of Amon Ra, which is now missing. Although there are a few scratches on the glass case, there are no signs of forced entry into the display. There aren't even any fingerprints. Oops! Congratulations! You've cracked the case of the Dagger of Amon Ra. The card identifies the slab of black basalt as the Rosetta Stone. Hieroglyphs and letters from the English alphabet are clearly engraved on the stone. The Rosetta Stone was found by a French artillery officer among the ruins of Fort Saint-Julien near the Rosetta mouth of the Nile River in 1799. It came into the possession of the British government after the capitulation of Alexandria. The Rosetta Stone, currently on loan to the Leyendecker Museum, is the key to modern translations of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs into English text. You notice that half of the Rosetta Stone seems to be missing from the display, replaced by a small card that reads, Artifact 310 removed from display for research on 9/1/26 by O.M. Ironically, there's a gold Ankh medallion, the ancient Egyptian symbol of life, resting in a pool of blood. Carter's flesh is looking rather pale, as if he's not feeling well. Perhaps it's because he's lost a lot of blood. There's a slight bulge in Pippin's jacket, as if he's carrying something in an inside pocket. When you reach into Pippin's tuxedo jacket, you find a notepad in his inner pocket. Unreadable words are imprinted on the paper. There are no signs of scratches or bruises on his flesh. This could mean that the murderer, assuming this wasn't a suicide, knew Dr. Carter well enough to get close and stab him without arousing any suspicion. Or it could just mean that Dr. Carter was completely taken by surprise when someone assaulted him from the shadows. A close look at the dagger reveals the words, "Made in Pittsburgh," stamped on the part of the blade that is not buried in Pippin Carter's chest. To your naked eye, the rough surface of the dagger handle doesn't appear to hold any fingerprints, but that's something for the coroner to examine in detail.
You scream like a banshee, lass. Did you kill the man, then?
No, I just walked in here and found him.
I suppose that would explain your screaming, then. Did you see the murderer?
No.
All right. I'll talk to you later after you've had a chance to calm down. Just don't try to leave the building.
Excellent work. Your father would be proud of you. Having already interrogated the guests, Detective O'Reilly is now discussing the murder with the staff members as they leave the party. It would be best if you don't interfere.
Hi, Miss Bowe. I'm Ernie Leach. Dr. Carrington told me you could stay a while and talk to the staff. I've got to lock the doors, so just come and find me when you're ready to leave. Dr. C also has a key, but you don't want to bother him about that.
Thank you, Mr. Leach.
Just be careful where you go. Wolf will get upset if he finds you downstairs. See you later.
Did you manage to learn anything from your interviews, Detective O'Reilly?
Don't bother your little head about it, lass.
It's my job, sir.
This is an official murder investigation, Miss Bowe. Do not be interfering.
Oh, I don't mean to interfere. I just want to know what's going on. Any leads so far?
Dr. Carter died as the result of someone sticking a gift shop dagger in his chest. What more do you need to know?
Well, for one thing, who did it?
Someone who didn't like him. That's my guess.
Brilliant deduction.
If you think that you can do better.
I can try.
Oh, wunderbar. Now we've got the amateurs involved.
I may not be a detective, but I'm terribly clever. I've solved murders before.
Just stay out of me way, lass, and don't destroy the evidence.
Certainly not.
Yeah.
Dr. Carter's demise was truly a loss to us all, despite his pushy, overinflated, headline-grabbing ego. At least he completed his work on the Ancient Egypt exhibit before he passed on. Dedicated chap, I'll say that for him.
Any idea who might have wanted to kill him?
The man had enemies crawling out of the woodwork, Miss Bow. Practically everyone's a suspect, if you ask me.
Everyone? Including you?
Well, perhaps I should say everyone except myself, since I was at the fundraising event when Dr. Carter was taken from us. Terrible thing, really.
He was a rather good-looking fellow, don't you think? Of course, I was at the party when he died, surrounded by witnesses, but I've already told Mr. O'Reilly about all that.
A typical light-hearted painting by anonymous Bosch called A Heartwarming Story, depicting dead humans being tormented by skeletons and demons in hell. It's an actual skeleton key, glued to the painting as if it's being held by one of the skeletons. That Bosch was a stickler for realism. Jeepers! The shiny key on the painting even feels real, probably because it is. Although you have a natural attraction to shiny objects, this one is firmly attached to the painting and obviously can't be removed by hand. It's amazing that you can still smell the slight odor of oil paint on this canvas, as if it were painted only a week ago. Perhaps the previous owners took excellent care of the painting to preserve its delicate beauty. When you touch the painting, you smear a bit of the paint as if it's still damp. You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Yvette's office.
Thank you for coming to see me, Olympia. This is very nice of you.
You're very welcome, my dear. What can I do for you?
Oh, you see, I found this strange bone, and I said to myself, Yvette, if anyone can tell you what this is, it would be Olympia.
A bone, you say? How fascinating. Where did you find it?
I found it right here in the museum. Here it is, Doctor.
Now, let me see. Ha ha! Yvette, you silly girl. This is a chicken bone.
It is?
Yes, of course. For it is still greasy. You got this at dinner, didn't you?
Oh, you have caught me, Olympia. I was playing the little joke on you.
You are a funny girl, Yvette, but I am quite fond of you.
Olympia, we are the good friends, no? I have the problem I wish to talk to you about.
Oh, certainly. What is it?
Come closer so I can whisper it to you. It is very personal, and I want no one to overhear.
Oh, my. Oh, my. Oh, my.
The cloth seems to be covering something up. It's half of the famed Rosetta Stone. The bottle says, Dr. Moribund's Guaranteed Snake Oil.
Good evening, Miss Bow.
Oh, you startled me.
Good. It gets the blood flowing, doesn't it?
Well, I suppose so.
I see you were looking at my snake oil.
Well, I was just looking around.
I'm sure you meant no harm.
What's the snake oil for, anyway?
It repels snakes, of course. Comes in handy when I'm working in the basement. I lost a load of Egyptian cobras down there a few weeks ago, and I occasionally come across one of those little darlings. Those snakes always want to bite me, but I'm sure they don't mean anything by it. It's just their way. They get nervous very easily, you know. Normally, I love to watch them kill things. My Barney will kill anything he can sink his teeth into.
Charming.
Well, I'd like to chat some more, but I've got to rush off and meet that young Steve fellow. He promised to show me his scars. See you later.
Backlit, you can read the words typed into the carbon paper. Ernie, Big Al called to see if you could do some fencing for him next week. He says he'll make it worth your while to do a fast fencing job. You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Yvette's office.
Come a little closer, Monsieur Najir. I am wanting to show you something.
And what would that be, Miss Delacroix?
Look at the palm of my hand.
It is a lovely palm, to be sure. But what am I supposed to see?
You see this line, monsieur? It is my love line.
My goodness, Miss Delacroix. It goes all the way up your arm and disappears up your sleeve.
Would you like to see where it ends up, Ramses? Have you ever been to Paris, Ramses?
No, I can't say I ever have.
Then you have never seen the Eiffel Tower?
No.
Well, by all means, let me show you.
Miss Delacroix, please. I'm a married man. Oh, dear.
Have you forgotten who let you into the museum, Ramses? Have you forgotten who showed you the secret room for your little ceremonies? You haven't, have you?
No, I haven't, but...
Then you will let me give you the grand tour of the tower, no?
We'll have to go somewhere else. I don't feel safe here.
Lead the way, monsieur.
Countess and Ziggy at 1 a.m. Medieval armor display. It's the personal diary of former museum president Sterling Waldorf Carlton. Glancing through the diary and the male handwriting within, it refers to Sterling's growing fear that the Countess only married him for his money and that she could be planning to kill him. The final entry reads, Yvette fears her too. It's the latest thing in office telecommunications technology, an intercom master unit. You touch the intercom unit, completely missing the buttons. And the whole point, apparently.
These newfangled inventions are such a caution. Can anyone hear me? Hello? This is Laura Bow. Hello?
The intercom crackles and you overhear a conversation.
Oh, I so love your scars, Wolfie. Show them to me again, darling.
They are yours to admire, my strudel.
Hoopa! Very, very nice.
Yeah, and I have this new bone for your collection.
Ah, such a large bone, too. Where did you find it?
I've been carrying this bone around for years. It is yours now, my Fräulein. You may do with it what you will.
I'm impressed by your generosity, Wolfie.
Oh, my lover, how do you manage to do it so many times?
Sure, and a man's got to do what a man's got to do.
And you do it so well.
Try and keep your voice down, lass. Someone might hear us.
Oh, I do not care, my amour. Life, she is something we only enjoy once.
Sure, and begorra, I do this at least 50 times a day to stay in shape.
50 times, ooh la la. And what do you call this movement?
Sit-ups, lass. I also do 50 push-ups each day. Then I run a few miles.
I'm telling you, pal, you're not supposed to be down here.
Nothing poisonal, Mac, but Archie said I could scope the place out.
Well, he didn't say anything to me about it. Neither did Mr. Heimlich. And he's the chief of security.
It's okay, Mac. Don't get your britches in an uproar. Trust me.
I'd only trust you about as far as I can throw you.
Hey now, there ain't no need for physical violence, Mac.
I'll give you 10 seconds. If you aren't out of my sight by then, I'm gonna hurt you real bad.
You're touchy, ain't ya? But I was done down here anyways. See you around, Mac.
Not if I can help it.
Oh dear, the light bulb blew out. You hope someone will invent a reliable light bulb one of these days.
Oh, excuse me.
Here now, be off with you then.
Bonjour, Miss Beau. How are you enjoying the museum this evening?
I find it very stimulating.
You be careful walking around in this place with the murderer loose. Stay near the Detective O'Reilly or Monsieur Heimlich.
Thanks, but I can take care of myself.
Ah, but you'll keep saying that until the murderer he kills you. Please be careful. You seem like a very nice young woman. I would hate to see the bad things happen to you.
I found some very interesting carbon paper in your office.
You have no right to be doing the digging around in my garbage, Miss Beau. That garbage is private, and I will not be answering the questions about it. The glass covering the alcove is marked with the words, "For emergency use only." A Ra.mp4 coil lantern with a hand crank on the base. It's too far away for you to get a good look at it, but it's definitely cheese, and it definitely stinks. It's a Thompson submachine gun, also known as a Tommy gun. How ironic. After untold millions of years, this pterodactyl has claimed a new victim, a male specimen of Homo sapiens, which has been pinned to the floor by the pterodactyl's monstrous beak. The pants are stained with the usual fluids that seep out during death, which explains the smell, but you find nothing unusual. Bonjour, Miss Bo. How are you enjoying the museum this evening? It's Dr. Pippin Carter, famous dead archaeologist. Dr. Carter's body has been indelicately crammed into the suit of armor. His filmy eyes gaze in mute shock. His head is bent at an unlikely angle, and the skin is puckered where the helmet's edges bite into the expanding flesh. This is the life mask exhibit. You haven't seen this many dead-looking, expressionless faces since your accounting class at the university. Oh no! That doesn't look like a life mask. It's Ziggy's head!
What is going on in here?
I'd say you've got some explaining to do, young lady. Why are you screaming?
I found Mr. Ziggy's head.
Very odd how you're always finding the bodies, Miss Bo. I think we should be going back to my office and interrogating you now.
Here now, Wolf. The young lady just found a man's head. Give her a moment before you get out your thumb screws then.
Thank you, Mr. O'Reilly.
Don't thank me, lass. I'm not saying you didn't kill the man. I'm just trying to restrain Mr. Heimlich's enthusiasm for his job.
But I will get results. Let me talk to her privately.
Now I realize you're just trying to help, Wolf, but I think we can learn what we need from the lass without harming her.
She could lie and you'd never know it. You Americans are too soft on your criminals.
I just walked in and found his head, that's all.
Well, Mr. Heimlich does have his point, lass. It's a wee bit curious that you keep showing up at the murder scenes before anyone else. How do you explain that, then?
Just lucky, I guess.
Well, you do seem a wee bit small to be sawing off a man's head, I'll say that much.
Thanks.
This Fräulein could have had help. Or maybe she's very clever.
Or maybe you're trying to pin the murders on her, so you can find the murderer and save your job, eh?
My job is quite secure, Herr O'Reilly.
Oh, really now? A security chief who allows burglars to steal the exhibits, then overlook several murders happening under his nose. I'd think twice about your security methods if I was running things here.
This is hardly the place to discuss my methods, Herr O'Reilly. We have a suspect to interrogate.
Correction. We have a murder scene to investigate. We can talk to the lass later when she's had a chance to calm down.
Thank you again, sir.
You're a sturdy one, I'll say that much for you. One scream and you've got your head together again, so to speak. Just don't try to leave the museum.
I can't leave. I'm locked in.
Good. We won't have to worry about you then. All right, Wolf. We've got work to do. Let's go get the crime scene tools.
A paper cutter with a red blade. The red stain on the paper cutter blade could be red ink or blood. Perhaps the last person to use it had an accident?
Miss Bo, this is a private office.
Oh, well, I was just looking around. Have you seen this paper cutter? It looks like it has blood on the blade.
Blood? Oh, that's not blood. You got me all excited. It's probably just red ink. But if you're worried about Yvette, I just saw her on the way down to Ernie's office in the basement. She goes down there a lot for some reason.
Maybe she's fond of Ernie?
Yvette is very fond of everyone, my dear. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have some business to attend to.
Dr. Carrington's head holds no clues that you can discover, except for the somewhat pained expression on his face. It's dripping blood. Porcupine quills, which appear to have caused Dr. Carrington's demise as they passed through his body, creating multiple perforations in many of his vital organs. The clock appears to have been broken at exactly 12:04 a.m. 2 letters written in blood on the desktop. CP, a large format illustrated version of Crime and Punishment by Dostoevsky. There's a police file hidden in the book. You read a police report on the criminal career of one Watney Little, conman extraordinaire. The file contains an amazing list of offenses, mostly fraud, conspiracy to commit fraud, and various degrees of larceny. Glancing at the top of the page, you noticed that the investigations were conducted by Scotland Yard. You also noticed that the last entry describes Little's recent escape from Dartmoor prison. Clipped to the outside of the folder is a small handwritten note that reads simply, "Remember our deal." Apparently this file was provided in exchange for somebody's silence or service.
Oh, good evening, Miss Ball.
Hi, Dr. Miklos. I'm sorry if I startled you.
Oh, that's okay. I enjoy being startled. And please, call me Olympia.
Okay, Olympia. You enjoy being startled?
It keeps the blood flowing. I love it. I was just trying to find Daisy, my ferret. She usually has the run of the museum, but it's time for me to feed her.
And you think she might be in here?
Well, she's been spending a lot of time in here lately for some reason. She probably likes the unusual smells. Who knows?
Can I help you look for her?
Thanks, but I'm sure I can find her. Would you mind leaving me for a while so she'll come out of hiding?
Certainly. Sorry to disturb you.
Something I can do for you, Miss Bull?
Mr. Leach, can you let me out of this museum? I don't like it in here. People keep dying.
Sorry, Miss Bow. I seem to have lost my door keys.
Oh, I find that very disturbing.
Me too. I can't even let myself out of the building. We're all staying here until I find those keys. I'm sorry, Miss Bow, but I'm kind of busy right now. Is there something I can help you with? If not, I've got work to do.
The intercom crackles and you hear,
Ernie, it's Olympia. The release valve in number 13 seems to be jammed. Take a look at it when you have a chance.
a pair of heavy-duty wire cutters. This curious device is a lasso at the end of a pole used for the humane capture of snakes in the wild, or wild snakes, or something like that. Vat 13. Indistinct shapes are floating in the murky liquid. None of the creatures are close enough to the... Could it be? Yes. It's heavy. It's shiny. It's real gold. It's got a sharp point at one end. It's the Dagger of Amon Ra. A variety of shiny metals. 2 of them, with packs of dogs carrying birds in their mouths, are marked with the word Reichsjagdgebrauchshundverband. Others appear to be merit badges for the German youth equivalent of the Boy Scouts.
Oh, Dr. Smith, I appreciate your help so much.
Well, I don't particularly appreciate giving it. I have things to do, Miss Delacroix. Important things.
But surely you can spare the time to help me move my desk, no?
Oh, I suppose. Why do you want to move it anyway?
Oh, there is a terrible stain on the rug. I don't want it to show. We don't have to move the desk very far.
All right. Oh, it's heavy. Oh!
Oh, I am so sorry. Did you hurt yourself?
Yes. Oh no, I'm bleeding. You owe me one, miss.
But of course, Mr. Smith. I'll do anything you say. Anything. Didn't I let you in when you asked? Didn't I keep your secret?
Yes, I suppose you did. And I'm sorry about bleeding on your carpet. At least it'll blend in with the old stain. What is that anyway?
Oh, it is only strawberry jam.
I'm sure I don't want to know that.
Probably not, Dr. Smith. Now, let's go to your place.
Well. Good evening, Countess.
What are you doing here?
I just happened to be hiding behind the tapestry.
You're lying.
How could you tell?
Nobody just happens to hide behind a museum tapestry.
And nobody just walks around inside a museum late at night with paintings under their arms.
Paintings? Oh, you mean these paintings? I just found them laying around on the floor, and I picked them up so no one would step on them.
I don't think so.
You don't think so? Are you accusing me of something, you silly girl?
What do you think?
I think you're a rude girl who needs to learn some manners. The nerve going around accusing people of stealing paintings.
Did I say anything about you stealing them?
Well, of course you did. Don't try to trick me, girl. I've got more tricks than you have brain cells.
One thing I have to ask myself is, why did you bring those paintings to a meeting with Dr. Carrington this time of night?
How did you know I was meeting Dr. Carrington?
I found a note beside his body.
His body? You talk about him like he was dead.
Yes, he is. Dead as a doorknob. You didn't know about it?
You're trying to trick me again. Dr. Carrington is alive and well and working in his office.
Well, you're right about him being in his office, but he's quite dead, I assure you.
Oh, my God!
And you seem to be a logical murder suspect.
Wait a second. You're not going to pin this one on me. I didn't have anything to do with it. Why would I want to kill him? We've got a perfectly good art burglary scheme going.
Art burglary?
I think I said too much.
If you're trying to convince me that you're not the murderer, you're not doing a very good job of it.
What do I care what you think anyway? You're not a cop.
But I am a reporter, and I could write about you in the newspaper. Of course, your reputation would be ruined, and the police would get very interested in you. But you're tough, so I'm sure you could handle it.
Look, it was just a little deal I worked out with Dr. Carrington. An art forger duplicates the paintings on the wall of the gallery. Then we hang them up in place of the real ones, which we sell to private collectors.
Didn't you think someone would catch on after a while?
Are you kidding? That's the beauty of the plan. When we had replaced all the paintings, we were going to slash them and make it look like someone vandalized the real paintings. No one would ever think we'd go to the trouble of forging paintings just to destroy them. And Carrington is here to see that no one gets too nosy.
You mean he was here?
I swear I didn't have anything to do with his death. He was my cash cow. I brought him over from Europe just for this reason. Now that's it. I'm not saying any more about it.
I saw an interesting diary in Carrington's wall safe. It belonged to Sterling Waldorf Carlton, your former husband.
My dear Sterling's diary? What did you do with it?
Well, I left it in the safe for the police to find.
You didn't read it, did you?
Yes, actually I did. It had some interesting things to say about you.
Lies! All lies! I loved that man. I still love him, despite what he did to his will. Dear Sterling made me a rich woman, or he's going to as soon as the will problems are cleared up.
Sterling seemed to think you wanted to kill him for his money.
Lies! Nonsense! Lies!
Apparently Yvette is afraid of you, too. Sterling mentioned her as well.
Yvette! That little trollop! So that's who he was seeing behind my back. She must be the one who made him start changing his will.
I don't know. I just know what I read in his diary.
Oh! I'm starting to feel faint.
Perhaps you should lie down somewhere and compose yourself. We'll talk more later.
Yes, good idea.
And don't try to leave the museum tonight. I'm sure Detective O'Reilly would be interested in hearing what I know about you.
I'm sure he would, dear girl. Don't worry. I'm sure we'll talk some more.
You're not looking well, Countess.
There's a murderer running around loose in this museum, so I do feel a bit spooked when someone leaps out from behind the exhibits.
With careful use of the dagger, you managed to pry the skeleton key off the Bosch painting without any serious damage. You pick it up and place it in your purse.
Hello, little ferret.
A slab of meat which smells ripe, veins of rancid fat forming abscesses that ooze copious amounts of pus run through the decomposed cut of beef. Yum, just like Mom used to make. The trunk has a name tag identifying it as part of Carrington's personal luggage. Beside it is another sticker emblazoned with the logo, Andrea Doria. It's a sack of plaster, sometimes used for making molds.
Oh!
A skeleton lies in the trunk, its bones picked clean by the domestic beetles. They've efficiently removed every last shred of flesh, making the skeleton nearly impossible to identify. It appears to be a gold pocket watch. A close look reveals an inscription on the watch. To Dr. Archibald Carrington III for your years of dedicated service, many thanks from your staff at the British Museum. Up. You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Ernie's office.
Interesting. I never noticed that before.
You never noticed what, my love?
You have a tattoo of the Eiffel Tower on the inside of your left eye.
Ah, you are doing this to distract me, no? But I am worried about you, my Ernie. You are so big and so strong. But this ice pick fellow is a dangerous one, no?
Yeah, he's dangerous. But I'll pay him his dough. Ernie Leach always pays his debts.
Maybe you can do some more fencing for this Big Al. He pays well.
Yeah, Big Al's a good customer. But there's only so much fencing I can do for one guy.
This ice pick might try to make the example of you before you can pay him off. He keeps leaving these threatening messages.
Don't worry, baby. Icepick knows he won't get his dough if he kills me. Maybe I can get into a hot poker game down at the Harlem Swinger and win enough money to pay him off.
No, no, no. The gambling is what got you into this mess, my Ernie.
Yeah, maybe you're right. But I've got bigger problems tonight. I saw something I wasn't supposed to see.
What?
You're better off if I don't tell you about it. Now, what's this on the top of your Eiffel Tower tattoo?
I think you know what it is, my Ernie. You've seen it before.
And I always enjoy seeing it again, baby.
Ah, you American men are so charming.
Am I going to have to spank you? Spray.
Maybe she's wanting to join us, yes?
It looks like meat being carried by bugs. You're a vegetarian. You don't want the meat anymore.
Hey, meat!
The meat doesn't respond, and the bugs continue on their journey. You hear muffled voices coming through the door to Yvette's office.
You lied to me.
Well, lass, I guess that makes us even. You lied to me.
You had something to do with the Dagger burglary.
You've been sleeping with someone else. I saw you go off with that dock worker.
I've never slept with Steve, and this Ziggy fellow, he told me about you and the Dagger.
And you believe that little weasel. I've arrested the man more times than I can count.
The Ziggy, I know him a long time. He would not lie to me.
That man'd lie to his own mother if someone paid him for it.
Ziggy, he says you were working with the Carrington to steal the Dagger.
Lies. You can't be trusting the man. If he wasn't already dead, I'd pound the truth out of him.
Maybe you already did.
Were you sleeping with the little rat then?
Of course not.
You really surprise me, lass. I'd think you grew up on the streets accusing me of burglary like that.
Where I grew up doesn't matter, does it? The important thing is... Wait, did you hear something at the door?
Yeah, I was hearing it too. Keep your voice down then.
Wolfie, your facial scars are so wonderful. How did you get them?
Fencing, my Strudel. As a young man, I would fence with my Heidelberg friends. We would stop our opponent's saber just before it went through our faces, which would make the scars you see now.
Ah, that is very interesting. You did not use masks to protect your faces?
Nein, that would have been considered unmanly.
You'll have to show me how to do that sometime.
There are many things I can show you, my Strudel.
Perhaps we should go somewhere less public, Wolfie.
Oh yeah, good idea. Particularly since there's that annoying reporter wandering around the museum. That is not something I would have allowed if I was running things here.
Give it time, Wolfie. Perhaps you will be running things here someday, if I have anything to say about it.
Oh? What can you do?
There are ways, but come, let us speak of these things in more privacy.
Ernie's eyes are bulging in a peculiar way, leading you to believe he either choked, drowned, or was frightened to death. The pants are intact, but the smell emanating from them is noticeable. It's as if he took a swim in bathtub gin. There is little to see in Ernie's mouth besides the usual teeth, tongue, hard and soft palates, and uvula. But there does seem to be an unusual amount of mucosa foam in the cheeks and throat, usually indicative of death by drowning. There's also a strange trickle of clear fluid. With obvious distaste, you sniff around the area of his mouth. The odor is one of pure alcohol. These are animal hairs of some sort, too coarse to be human.
It's unfortunate that Ernie died, but his body is nicely displayed on that mastodon, don't you think?
Ach, you are smelling like the brewery, mein Capitan. Either you've been drinking, or you've been eating too many of those grapes.
Sure, and Bigora. A man needs a little nip from his flask now and then, doesn't he?
Personally, I do not require the drinking of the alcohol. It would impair my mental and physical skills.
Ernie Leach has been murdered!
What was that, lass?
Ernie is dead.
So, you finally come to us to confess, is that it?
Confess? No! I'm reporting a murder.
And you was the first one to find the body again?
Well, I guess so.
Quite a coincidence, Fräulein. I think we should be interrogating you to learn the truth. I've had enough of your lies!
Calm down, Heimlich. If there's any interrogating to be done, I'll be the one who does it. Now then, lass, where did you find the body?
The mastodon room. He's hanging from some mastodon tusks.
Ach, he's probably just sleeping on the job.
No, I'm sure he's dead.
Well, I'll go take a look at him then. If I need to talk to you, I'll find you later.
Do we smell a promotion in the air? You're doing splendidly.
My Ernie, he was a wonderful man. I really loved him.
Oh, sure you did. I know your type, Yvette. I know you didn't really love him.
But I did. Ernie was the first man I've ever really loved. I was even trying to find work for him so he could make the extra money.
Why did he need extra money? He had a good job here, didn't he?
It was the gambling. The ice pick. He killed my Ernie for the gambling debts.
Ernie wasn't killed with an ice pick.
No, the ice pick is the... how do you say it? The lone fish.
Lone fish? Oh, you mean ice pick is the name of a loan shark?
Oui, the ice pick is an evil man.
You're sure he's the one who killed Ernie?
My Ernie, he was worried about the ice pick. He told me about him this evening.
Very curious. I'm surprised you had time to see Ernie tonight.
Why is that?
Because you've been spending so much time with Mr. Dorian.
Oh, you mean the Steve? He's the attractive man, but we are only the friends, no? But my Ernie, what will I do without him?
I can see you're upset. I'll leave you alone. Steve! Mr. Dorian.
Miss Bow.
Thank you for showing me your scars, Steve. They were very, very nice.
Haven't seen you in a while, Mr. Dorian.
Well, women keep carrying me off.
Carrying you off?
Yeah. First, Miss Delacroix pulled me away from the party to show me the old Masters Gallery. Then there was Dr. Miklos. She's been pestering me about my scars ever since she found out I worked on the docks. Weird lady.
You don't seem too upset by all the attention.
Well, I would rather have spent the time with you.
I'd think a big, strong man like you would have been able to get away from them if you wanted to do so.
Well, I hate to be rude, and I did end up finding you here.
Have you heard about the murders?
Murders? Oh, I guess somebody did mention that.
You seem kind of distracted.
Yeah, well, I've got news for you, too. I think some of the paintings in the old Masters Gallery are forgeries. The paint is still wet on some of them.
Yes, well, I hardly think that...
Oh, Steve, a terrible thing has happened. Ernie is dead.
Ernie?
Yes, my Ernie. What will I do? Oh, I need a big man to cry on. Please, come into my office.
Sorry, Miss Bow. The poor woman seems very upset. Maybe there's something I can do for her.
I can just guess what that is.
We can talk more later, okay?
We'll see about that.
Ooh la la.
How does that feel?
It is magnifique.
I'm not rubbing too hard, am I?
The harder the better, mon ami.
Well, we all get a little stiff now and then.
Ooh, and you are so good at working out the kinks. Mmm.
Would you mind not moaning so loud? You might draw attention.
Oh, I cannot be helping it. You are so big and so strong. Mmm.
Oh my.
Oh, dear.
Miss Bow,
Sacré bleu.
I can explain this.
I bet you can, Mr. Dorian.
I'm just rubbing her neck.
Oui, and he does it so well.
I'll just leave you two alone.
Miss Bow, wait.
It's a petite woman's shoe. Red hairs. A close look seems to indicate that the red hairs belong to a human. Rubbing the charcoal over the notepad has made the imprint readable. Yvette, 8 o'clock, Egyptian room. Tut, 10:15, Egyptian room. Carrington, 11 o'clock, his office. The subject of this sculpture looks curiously familiar. The odd statue feels like it's made of cheap, quick-drying plaster. Yvette's face doesn't look as good in death as it did in life. Perhaps because her makeup is covered with plaster dust. Yvette's hair, formerly full of bounce and shine, is now lifeless and dull. It could use a thorough washing with a good shampoo to get all the plaster dust out of it. The scarf around Yvette's neck looks suspiciously like the hosiery she was wearing on her legs earlier. Her neck under the scarf shows red friction burns, as if she was strangled. This makes you wonder if she died during a passionate moment or had simply developed the habit of wearing silk hose around her neck. Definitely red hairs, probably human. There appears to be a fingerprint on one of the lenses of the bifocals, although you have no way to identify it. A smelly old work boot. Up. There are a few spots of blood on the floor. The blood is red and almost dry. There seems to have been a struggle here.
Countess, why are you tied up on my desk? Your face has certainly changed to an attractive pale color, my dear. You seem a little under the weather. Are you okay? Oh dear, you don't look well at all. O'Reilly! You want Mr. O'Reilly? Okay, just wait right here and I'll go get him. Hello, Miss Bo. Do you know where Mr. O'Reilly is?
Well, no, not exactly. I assume he's still in the museum.
Well, I'll find him. If you see him first, would you tell him that the Countess is dying on the desk in my office?
The Countess is dying? What's wrong with her?
Well, she's looking rather pale. Her eyes are glazed, and she's not breathing much. I'd guessed she'd been bitten by a snake. By a snake? Must you keep repeating everything I say? In any case, I've got to go now.
Oh!
They seem to be ordinary table grapes, nice and ripe. The scent of the smelling salts is overpowering at this close range. You detect a trickle of what could prove to be cobra venom. You deem it wise not to touch it when you remember that it's a neurotoxin that causes progressive paralysis leading to respiratory failure. That biology class was useful after all. You're a model of investigative brilliance. We salute you, Laura. You hear ominous chanting as you encounter a strange ceremony.
Amen Ra, 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 Sis Boomba, Ra, Ra, Amen Ra.
Oh my goodness! Excuse me, I was looking for the women's lounge.
You're coming with us, young lady.
I think you're making a mistake.
You've seen too much. We can't let you go.
Not to worry. I won't remember seeing this room, or you, or anything. Really, I've got a terrible memory. Can't even remember my own name half the time.
I'm sorry you found us. Our cult of Amon-Ra must remain a secret. There is too much at stake here. Too many important people are involved.
Cult of Amon-Ra? In the museum basement?
This room is a forgotten part of the original museum. We are safe here, as long as no outsiders are aware of our existence.
Oh, well, my lips are sealed. If you want to dance and sing and have little meetings down here, that's your business.
You cannot be trusted, Miss Bow. You're a newspaper reporter. We could be a featured article on page 1 of tomorrow's newspaper if we let you go.
But people are going to miss me. They'll search the museum.
The police will never find this room or your body.
You don't really plan to kill me, do you?
Of course not.
What a relief.
Kill is such an ugly word. Actually, we're going to sacrifice you to Amon-Ra.
Can we talk about this?
There is nothing to discuss. You should be proud to die in such an honorable fashion. Young Egyptian maidens used to fight for the privilege of being sacrificed to the great Amon-Ra.
Now, wait a minute. I thought the ancient Egyptians didn't make human sacrifices.
You're familiar with the history of ancient Egypt, Miss Bow?
Well, I've learned a few things.
Perhaps we could test you.
Do I have any other options?
We can test you or sacrifice you. It's your choice.
I'm liking this idea more and more. What kind of a test is it?
Amon-Ra may choose to intervene on your behalf. It is our tradition that we must let you live if you can answer Amon-Ra's riddle.
Great.
Of course, you'll have to answer the riddle with hieroglyphics.
I was afraid it would be something like that. Okay, what's the riddle?
Actually, it's a two-part riddle. What is the room you leave without entering? That's correct. Now, the second riddle. What is the room you enter without leaving? Very impressive. You're the first person who ever answered that riddle correctly. The wise Amon-Ra apparently wants us to spare your life. Will you swear to keep our location a secret?
Of course.
Then you may leave. May the great Amon-Ra guide your footsteps.
Thank you. Now I just have to outrun the person who's been chasing me.
Who is chasing you? Do you think they'll find their way in here?
I'm not sure who it is, but I believe it's the same person who stole the Dagger of Amon-Ra from its display case. And I'm sure they'll find their way in here.
If that is true, they will not leave this room alive. I suggest you leave through our secret escape route behind the altar. Go now, and remember your promise.
This door is locked, and you don't have the proper key. A smelly old work boot. There's an unconscious man in the coal bin. Although the coal has dirtied his face and hair, it looks suspiciously like Steve.
Oh, my head. What happened? Laura.
Yes, Steve. I was so worried about you. Are you all right?
I think so. I remember hearing somebody coming up behind me, and as I turned around, somebody slugged me. Cripes, my head hurts.
They must have dumped you down the coal chute. Let me see where you were hit.
I'm all right. Don't touch it.
Honestly, you men can be such crybabies. Do you think you can walk? We have to get out of here. Somebody's been murdering everybody in this museum, and whoever it is after me.
I can make it. I'm with you. Where do we go?
Good question.
You hear the sound of gunfire from the direction of the furnace room.
Sounds like someone's chasing us, Laura.
You watch in relief as the last of the rats scurries away. You faintly hear soft plops like bread dough hitting the floor coming from the doorway.
Touch me now, Laura. Find some way to stop the murderer before he kills us. I'll stay right here and stand guard.
You're a model of investigative brilliance. We salute you, Laura.
Thank you for coming to this inquest, Miss Bow. As the coroner on this case, I'm going to informally question you and study the evidence you've collected. If you assist me in developing a case, the perpetrators will be tried in the formal court of law. We're primarily concerned with the museum murders, but we're also interested in the theft of the Dagger of Amon Ra and other matters that may have a bearing on this case. My examination of the corpses has been fruitful, but I need more evidence to build a case. Any information you can give us would help, but you must justify your conclusions with the evidence you've acquired. False accusations and unsupported conclusions will not be tolerated. Although I don't wish to pressure you, your employer is also here to judge your performance on this investigation. Since this is an informal proceeding, I've allowed it on the basis that your newspaper will cooperate with our wishes. Now, to the questions. Who murdered Dr. Pippin Carter? Who murdered Lawrence Ziggy Ziegfeld? Who murdered Ernie Leach? Who murdered Yvette Delacroix? Who murdered Countess Lavinia Waldorf-Carleton? Who was the skeleton found in the steamer trunk? Who murdered Dr. Archibald Carrington? Who impersonated Dr. Archibald Carrington? Who murdered Watney Little? Who actually stole the Dagger of Amon Ra from the Ancient Egypt exhibit? Who manipulated Watney Little into stealing the Dagger of Amon Ra? Who was the woman involved in stealing paintings from the Old Masters Gallery? Based on what we now know, your assumption is correct, Miss Bow. Good work. Who was the man involved in stealing paintings from the Old Masters Gallery? Based on what we now know, your assumption is correct, Miss Bow. Good work. Who was the middleman who provided forged paintings for the Countess and sold the real ones for her? Based on what we now know, your assumption is correct, Miss Bow. Good work. Who is the high priest of the Amon-Ra sun worshippers? That's correct, Miss Bow. You're very observant. Which museum employee runs a fencing operation as a sideline business? That assumption is correct. Mr. Leach was moonlighting with his own business as a fence installer. In fact, he put up a very nice fence around my house.
I have one final piece of evidence to present, Mr. Coroner. I have an eyewitness who would only feel safe to come forth if I established my case against Mr. O'Reilly. Now that I've done so, let me introduce Dr. Patah Sheptut Smith of the Cairo Museum.
Mr. Smith's testimony is safe with us.
Many thanks. I was in the Egyptian ceremonial room, underneath the museum, when Detective O'Reilly killed 2 of my fellow sun worshippers. I saw with my own eyes how he gunned them down without mercy when they tried to stop him from chasing Miss Bow. However, we only managed to slow him down. His hood fell back briefly, revealing his evil face to us as he slaughtered our people. That son of a camel should not be allowed to run free upon the sands.
Will you testify in court to what you witnessed, Mr. Smith?
Happily, sir. My dead fellows expect their revenge, although Amon-Ra will certainly destroy O'Reilly's car when he journeys through the underworld.
I'm not qualified to give my opinion on Mr. O'Reilly's spirit in the next world, Mr. Smith, but I'm sure your testimony will help your dead friends sleep peacefully. Thank you for coming forth. I must admit that I'm impressed by your methods, Miss Bow. Not only have you identified the murderers of those unfortunate individuals, but you have also uncovered the skullduggery involving the Dagger of Amon Ra. Our case is very strong now and prosecution can begin. The New York Police Department owes you a debt of gratitude for your assistance in apprehending these malefactors. I'm sure that a commendation of valor from the police department is in order. Thank you for your help.
It's all that lousy reporter's fault. Damned interfering Laura Bow. Thinks she can get away with squealing on me, does she? Well, she's got another thing coming. Do you hear me, Laura Bow? You'll pay for this. If it's the last thing I ever do!
Thank you for waiting, Laura.
I didn't mind, Steve.
Laura,
Yes?
would you mind... do you suppose... Laura, could you close your eyes? I have something for you.
Oh, I suppose so. Oh, Steve!
Do you like it?
Steve, how could you? How could you have stolen the dagger?
I didn't steal the dagger, Laura. I bought this copy for you at the museum gift shop. I thought you might like a memento of your big night at the Leyendecker Museum.
Oh, thank you, Steve. I'm so embarrassed.
You're beautiful when you blush. Laura,
Yes, Steve?
would you consider joining me for dinner this coming Saturday?
Well, I'm not sure if I don't know if I should really. Yes. Yes, I'd be delighted to join you for dinner.
Thank you, Laura. You've made me very happy.
Oh, Steve.
Oh, Laura.
Oh, Steve.
Since his skeleton was so nicely cleaned by the domestic beetles, Dr. Carrington's bones will soon be hanging on display in the Leyendecker Museum. Yvette Delacroix died plastered. Her remarkably lifelike statue now lives on in the Old Masters Gallery of the Leyendecker Museum. Her memory lives on in the minds of all she touched. Her sculpture is attributed to Ryan O'Reilly, 1926. Pleased by your success at finding his Dagger of Amon Ra and his murderer, Dr. Pippin Carter now rests in peace. Pippin Carter's body was transported to Egypt by his cousin and now occupies a place of archaeological honor in the Temple of Amon Ra in the Valley of the Kings. Due to your success at recovering the Dagger of Amon Ra and finding the murderer, Wolf Heimlich continued as Chief of Security at the Leyendecker Museum. 2 months later, he was married to Dr. Olympia Miklos. 2 years after they were married, Wolf and Olympia had a child they named Morgana Wolf Heimlich. Having died in the course of this story, Watney Little's life of crime came to an abrupt end. As he was not a nice man, nobody missed him. Due to your success at recovering the Dagger of Amon Ra and finding the murderer, Dr. Olympia Miklos married Wolf Heimlich, who continued as Chief of Security at the Leyendecker Museum. 2 years after they were married, Wolf and Olympia had a child they named Morgana Wolf Heimlich. As fond as he was of the Leyendecker, Ernie Leach noted in his will that he wanted his body donated to the museum. His body now resides in numerous small jars of alcohol, which will be placed on display in the new Hall of Internal Biology, adjacent to the Hall of Late Mammals. Dr. Patasheptut Tut Smith finally gave up on getting the Dagger of Amon Ra returned to Egypt. However, once it completed its US and European museum tours, it was returned to the Cairo Museum anyway. So, several years later, Tut died a happy man, even though his death was the result of an Egyptian cobra bite. After losing his head in a museum, Ziggy found himself unable to continue his criminal career. His head has been preserved and is now on display in the life mask exhibit at the Leyendecker Museum. Ramses Najir continued his successful career as an accountant and as head of the secret Egyptian cult of Amon-Ra. With his strong high society ties, his accounting business made Ramses a millionaire in 15 years. Having died from a snake bite, the Countess Lavinia Waldorf Carlton did not live long enough to inherit any money from her last husband, Sterling. Thoroughly impressed by your success as a reporter, your editor, Sam Augustini, nominated you for a Pulitzer Prize and was present when you received your citation of valor from the police department. Sam retired 10 years later to become a gentleman cabbage farmer, fulfilling a secret lifelong dream. Pleased at your success, Crodfoller T. Rhubarb was happy to become your assistant at the New York Daily Register News Tribune. Henri Lamour, the coroner, continued his successful career studying dead bodies for the next 50 years, finally retiring in 1976 to tour with a rock band, the Ungrateful Dead. Low Fat continued in the laundry business, eventually opening a chain of low-fat Chinese laundries across the country and becoming a millionaire in the process. Former Detective Ryan Hanrahan O'Reilly was sentenced to 60 years in a state penitentiary. Having been a cop, O'Reilly found it hard to make friends in prison. After your successful completion of the museum assignment, you started dating Steve Dorian. Thrilled with your success, John Bowe spent the rest of his life telling people what a wonderful daughter you were and how he had taught you everything you knew about criminology. After your recovery of the Dagger of Amon-Ra, it went back on display at the Leyendecker Museum. The large amount of press coverage drew many patrons to the museum to see the dagger. After 2 years on display at the Leyendecker, the Dagger exhibit continued on a tour of museums in the United States, Europe, and finally found its way back to the Cairo Museum in Egypt.
Travel with him through jungles and